Out of sight, out of mind. You found someone new, but I can't change my love the way that you do.
Hi, welcome to the West End Video Newsletter. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. Tonight we invited, this show tonight is going to be about Lowell Square. We invited Bob Keane and Father Michael Grodin, who are the developers of the project. They refused to show up, so I'm harkening back to the 60s. So when people didn't want to give answers to questions, they would duck the show or duck whatever, and they're ducking. And right now, Bob Keane and Father Michael Grodin are ducking these questions. These are hard questions we're going to ask today, and I'll tell you what I think the answers are, and they may or may not be true, but that's why we wanted them here, so that they could give us the answers and the true answers. I have ideas why, but I'm not entirely sure why they're happening. On the other hand, I have Pat Fiorello with us today, a former West Ender and one of the beloved faithful that follows my newsletter all the time.
Yep, I read it. I get that faithfully.
Okay, and
I enjoy it, and many of my people in the family do.
Pat has a problem with Lowell Square. He had a problem with them too. I actually have a bigger problem with them too. I'll explain that later in the program. But right now, I want to talk about Lowell Square Associates and the West End Place. There are problems at West End Place. And one of the problems is it happening to us again? Is this being Charles River Park 2? All the things that happened to us the first time, we were forced out. They made the apartments too high, so people couldn't afford them. Nobody could get back. It looks over in the long haul, we're going to get about 30% of the units. Because they're charging, like me personally, they told me that I would have had to have paid $1,400 a month carrying charges. That was just too much for me. I'll get into what happened with me anyway, because there was a whole sequence of events that went on from there. Right now, I'd like to get to Pat.
Oh, my big problem was when they told me I was one of the lucky chosen person. They raffled off, or they picked it out of the hat. I was number 6. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was happy about it. Then all the paperwork came in, and I had to fill in what I had, what bank I was in, what I owned, what I didn't own. They wanted my life history, if I was arrested. They want to know so much, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know this was still the United States. They want my personal stuff. So finally he says, yes, you was chosen. And they told me the day to come up. I went there at 11:30, and I brought my camera with me, but I'm sorry I didn't bring the tape with me of the place. But we'll show it another time. The point is, here's what happened. I was born and brought up on Lever Street. And here's my dad's deed, 53 Auburn Street, all right?
Right.
Now here's the deed, and it explains to us, and we got peanuts. My father got so little that he had to have a mortgage. It broke his heart. His house, this was a nice 4-decker,
Right.
and he was collecting rent, and we lived there almost practically rent-free. And it was a shame how we gutted it all out. We gutted it all out.
Would you hold that up for the camera?
Yeah. Now this is the deed. And, you know, and my father got a very small piece of change, and he had to make a mortgage. And that killed him. And we had to move to Somerville, right off Magoon Square, off Lowell Street. And we've been there now a good many years, like, you know. And I'm all choked up on this, what they did to us. And
well, this was supposed to be vindication. See, this was supposed to be vindication
all right.
for what they
Let's
did
forget
in the 50s.
deed.
And it's not happening. Let's face it, it's not happening.
No,
Okay?
this happened to all our people.
Right.
It was 62,000 what it was of owners. Then the politicians bought the places up, and they boarded them up. And I'll give you a rough idea how mad I am, and my brother-in-law is. Here's a kid who was in the Marines. He was in Iwo Jima.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back with a quarter of a pound of platinum in his shoulder, and his mother hugged him and everything, surprised to see the son back again. He's alive. Then afterwards, she told him the bad news. We have to build a new home up in Burlington. They own some land up in Burlington, and it was a little cottage. And he was saying, we're getting kicked out of the West End. What do you mean we kicked out? I just came back fighting, killing people, and now I'm getting kicked out of my home in the West End.
That's right.
And boy, he didn't feel too happy.
I had a brother that died
All
in the
right,
Second World War.
I don't want to make a
for-
long story
Yeah.
out of this.
I had a brother that died in the Second World War over in Italy, fighting so these things couldn't happen to Americans, and they happened. Okay, and the same people that Go ahead. I didn't mean to.
Well, now I chosen this number 218. All right, and they told me my price, and I'm going to show you the price. It's unbelievable. $175,000. I couldn't pay cash or not. No one's allowed to pay cash, which I didn't have the cash, but I asked these questions. And it kills me. Then it's supposed to come $1,300 a month. But then I asked about parking my car, $185 a month. I said, oh, hold it. What, I got to hold a bank up to pay all this? Or I had to get a second job? How am I going to do this? It's a shame. And when I went over, I hit the tub. I don't know if it was made of plastic or what. Then they had
Tubs are not in good shape, yeah.
No tile on the floor, no tile on the walls. It was just blue board painted.
That's right.
And I says, you got to be kidding me. You want what for this? 175? He says, yep. I said, wait a minute, fella. When I read the paper, and I took this out of the Globe, it told me all different prices. It started like 75, 60, 41, all different prices here. And the West End place is supposed to be so great, I thought I was getting a beautiful place. But it didn't look that way to me. I'll tell you one thing. The details on the outside of one place, it looks beautiful.
They're beautiful.
But don't go inside, you get scared. Then, the whole community of the building had to bring their laundry down to the basement. You had to go 4 floors, 3 floors, 5 floors down.
10 floors.
Walk with all that laundry, with the soap and your bleach and everything. I don't know who planted this. I'd like to know who planted all this.
We were supposed to have input into it, but they never did. They kept saying, well,
Yeah,
it's
but
too
you
late,
see
you should have been here earlier, we didn't show up
But,
in
this
time. They always
modern
had
days,
excuses. Yeah.
But the computers, they know what they're going to get. They know what you get.
Mm-hmm.
But the price and the place was a disgrace to me. It was, to me, it's cheesy. And I worked a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been in a lot of homes. The bathrooms will make that place look sick. And I've been in the North End. It's unbelievable bathrooms. And I worked in these places, all right, in the 40s, in the 50s. I worked in them before I went to work over MIT. And I put in the floors, the rugs, the tile. I'm a tile man. My family, my grandfather, all right, my father, my brothers are in the business. And, it's a shame.
Well, actually, you guys should have had some work from there. That's one of the things they agreed to.
No
They
West Enders got a job. I was
Right.
born and brought there. No one ever bothered to ask me anything.
They
when you
were
get a
supposed to
deed-
give. They also were supposed to give jobs to West Enders, tile people, and everybody that they were supposed to do. They didn't do any of that.
No.
They reneged on everything that they said they were going to do. They totally reneged. It
They
sounds like
took-
Charles River Park again.
They took care of their friends.
That's
It's
right.
like everything. The politicians take care of their friends.
Only this time we have a TV show, okay,
Yeah.
and we also have a newspaper this time. It's not going to get buried. The last time when Charles River Park and Rappaport and that crowd did it, it got buried. It's not going to get buried. We're letting the world know, okay, that this is what I want everybody to. This is what Father Grodin. He lost a project he was supposed to go to in East Boston. He was supposed to do a project for the East Boston. He put the proposal in front of the neighborhood, and they all turned him down flat. And he wrote this letter. I'll read the last paragraph for you. And it said, "We are." He's a little bit bitter through the letter. He says, "We are known for building affordable housing. In reality, we build mixed-income housing. East Boston wants upper-end buyers. Ironically, we are more successful than most in attracting upper-end buyers because we are able, in every case, to offer high quality, full amenities, and a good investment. Better for less sells at economic levels, but especially at the top. I had looked forward to doing for East Boston what we have been able to do for so many communities. I regret that we will not be doing it." I want to say one thing. When he went over to East Boston, he used the West End as an example of how he got along with the neighborhood and what a great building he built. On the other hand, the East Boston Chamber of Commerce wrote a letter saying, "Yeah, I appreciate that everything you've done, it's fine and everything," and they closed it this way. It says, "In closing," this was from the East Boston Chamber of Commerce, "In your closing, you stated you had looked forward to doing for East Boston what the Archdiocese has been able to do for so many other communities. You expressed your regret that you would not be doing it." And this part is crucial. "Please understand East Boston's relief that you will not be doing it either." In other words, we know what you did in other places. We're happy that it's not happening here. Okay? I just want that to be said. I have a few questions for Father Michael Grodin, Director of Planning Urban Affairs, who didn't want to show up here. I guess he was too busy. He didn't have these answers.
Too busy.
One of the promises was when we first were designated to be with them. We were at a different outfit called H&D Development. H&D had signed a contract with us, and they were going to give us $500,000 a year and $200,000 a year, $500,000 a year seed money and $200,000 a year for a budget, so that we could start our CDC and get going and incorporate. We had social programs. We had all these things. Father Grodin, I want to know why you didn't adhere to this. You said that you would do at least as good for us as H&D would, but you said you couldn't sign a contract with us at that time because you had to wait till it was over. Could you answer us why you wouldn't sign back in 1988 a contract with us when we already had signed a contract with the other outfit? Could you answer that? Oh.
I wonder why Father Rogan didn't show up. I really, I'm mad. You know, yeah. They had the warning. They were invited. And at the last minute, they backed out. They reneged. Yeah. That's not right. And that's how the politicians work. Like, I give an example. Forget the West End alone. Now, the summer tunnel, the first summer tunnel, I bought the sticker for $1. It's supposed to be for life. Mm-hmm. And the politicians broke their promise again. I put it on my car, and I asked them, why stick it on the window? I like to keep it. She said, anytime you need a new one, just come up and get it. And this is the deal how the politicians do. Yeah. All right? Now they try to push the West End. They try to take Charlestown. And, no, I'm so mad. These high-rise they put in, mm-hmm. it breeds only roaches, those big monsters. They're not. You know, you go through and you smell everybody's food and everything. And when I seen this one here, I thought it was a little smaller. It's nice. It'd be a family deal. And that's why I wanted to get into this one place, you know? Right. But when I seen the workmanship inside, I was disappointed, really disappointed.
Let me explain a little bit what happened to me. There's a little story. I applied for one of the apartments. I put in, I was a high number in the lottery, but I was in the market value. I can't afford a lot, so I figured, you know, it'd really be a struggle, but I'd be back in the West End, and, you know, and back to the heartland. I was going to get an apartment and do whatever I had to do. I went down to West End Place. They called me up. I gave them all my paperwork and everything. They went through all the paperwork, and I haven't heard them. I haven't heard from them in a long time. All of a sudden, I get a call from Frank Privatera. He says, you know, I'm going down to check the apartments. They told me to call you up and bring you with me. I said, why do they want me? He says, I don't know. They just said to bring you with me. When I get down there, I find out that they have lost all my paperwork. And they said that you still want the apartment. I said, well, I'd like to. I said, but, you know. He said, well, you got to do it by tonight or the apartment goes up by $10,000. It was $109,000. If you don't do it by tonight, it'll go up.
Why did the price go up?
I have no idea. Don't ask me.
What is it?
Tonight it's going up $10,000.
We have a storm or something?
I said, well, I can't do anything because my wife is going away on vacation. This was 3 weeks ago. They turned around and he says, well, you either do it tonight or you... I said, well, my wife's gone for 3 weeks. She's going to California. I said, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's impossible at this time. He says, well... Today I get a registered certified letter. I have it here. If you give me a second, I had it right out front.
Yeah, I forgot mine.
I had a registered letter. And what it says because, now this is 2 weeks ago I was there that they asked me to get this place. And it says...
They try to push you.
It says, because you have not shown any interest in the apartment, we are taking your name off the list.
They did the same thing to me.
And I don't know how 3 weeks can make a difference. Especially, I've been instrumental in this building. What they're trying to do is keep West Enders out of it. They're using any excuse. Any excuse is enough to kick a West Ender out of there. Because if they can keep the occupancy rate under 50%, West Enders cannot, if there was over 50% of West Enders in that building, they would probably vote the way we wanted them to vote, and the contracts would go. You wouldn't have the same people running the building, management, you wouldn't have all the service contracts that would be different. But if they can keep us down, if they can keep us down at 30%, they control the building, okay? And that's what they're doing. Any excuse. There was a guy, his kid had a misdemeanor record. They forced him out. They said he can't have the apartment because his son had a misdemeanor record. I mean, what the hell is going on down there? These people are, we are being jobbed big time. And I want to say this, anybody, and I mean anybody, that is doing anything with the Planning Office of Urban Affairs better get it down in writing and better hire a lawyer right at the beginning. And don't listen to Father Grodin or look at his collar, because he ducks behind collars and he flims-flams neighborhoods behind his collar. I mean, this is what he did to us. We were supposed to meet to put, like you say, if we wanted tile, we were supposed to have tile. He said, you guys have all these different things. You can have input into everything. And they came up with these junky, I cannot tell you how you hit these things and they vibrate, they reverberate, they boom. I mean, the bathtubs are not great.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I asked,
Sure.
I wanted to see rooms with 2 laboratories. Today you need 2 laboratories. You can't, laboratory and a half, I asked all questions. Yeah, but never show me ones with 2 labs. And I don't understand that even. Then when I seen the kitchenette, it was no more 4 by 6 and that was it. And I said, you're gonna be kidding me. I said, I never seen anything like a little cubby hole like that. You couldn't put 3 people in there. And they wanted 175,000. They wanted 113 a month off of me.
Well, right now we're going to have to go. We have that. We're going to have to have her roll some tape on. I guess I went to Boston Neighborhood Network News when some of the stuff first broke. And could you roll the tape, please?
By the early 1960s, Boston's West End was demolished for an urban renewal project. Thanks to a new development at Lowell Square, some of the old residents have a chance to move back. But those West Enders still have questions about the number of units to be set aside and their cost. Those concerns have become the grounds for litigation. More recently, there has been a growth in tension between the residents group in the lawsuit and the developers. To tell us about the resident side is the president of the Old West End Housing Corporation, Jim Campano. Thank you very much for being with us. The tension, what's going on?
The tension right now is that, well, to go back a little bit, we filed suit for preference because we felt that we should have more units than they're giving us in the building. The developers, Planning Office for Urban Affairs and the Keane Development, have
This is a
taken,
partnership with the Archdiocese of Boston.
well, the Archdiocese is the Planning Office of Urban, that's their affordable housing arm. They said that we broke whatever agreement we had with them by fighting for the preference, and that they no longer have to give us, they were supposed to give us a 3,500 square foot museum, offices for the Old West End Housing Corporation, and offices for the West End Newsletter. In effect, what they said is because we sued what we view as our right to be in that building, that we broke their agreement, the contract we had with them, so they no longer have to give us the museum or the office spaces. And it sounds like it's punitive, they're doing, coming up with punitive measures to try to push us out of the building. This has always been like sort of, the tension has always been sort of there because we were originally with another group called H&D Development, who were originally designated the developers on this site. They were to give us $500,000 in seed money and $200,000 a year for 3 years so that the Old West End Housing Corporation could get a start and move on. The proposals were brought back in. Some people say, now this is all hearsay, that the Cardinal said something to Flynn and they brought the proposals back in. Whatever happened, this Office of Urban Planning, Planning Office of Urban Affairs, was named, designated the developer, and when we went in to say, well, we have a contract with these other people, why don't why don't we make a contract now? And they said, well, we can't do that because it's still under litigation. And you're talking about, Father Grodin is the executive director, said, don't worry, you'll be as good with us now. Whatever happens with us, you'll do as well with us as you would with H&D Development. Well, that hasn't turned out to be so.
let me see if I can explore something here, because it is easy to understand why people who used to live in the West End want to move back, and it's understandable that they want affordable housing. But the importance of the office, the museum, and the room for the newsletter, the newspaper, what is that?
That's paramount, especially the museum. The other two, the office for the OWEC, which we want to do other affordable housing, which, see, that's the last parcel that could be, under eminent domain laws, that's the last parcel that could be set aside for West Enders. Because for whatever else we would have to build would have to be for everybody. And so we're willing to do that. We're willing to become a CDC. We are a CDC, but we're willing to go on and build other housing in there for everybody. Okay, it was just that this was for us, and it was like a sacred mission. Now the museum, that's it. I mean, we're all going to be gone in 20 years. We're all dead. This museum tells the history. And we're not just talking about, we're mainly going to focus in on the immigrant experience, okay? but we're going as far back as, you know, the original people in the area in colonial days all the way up. And the timeline is going to run constantly, even up to Charles River Park. It's not going to just go, you know, from, let's say, 1875 to 1960. It's going to be a museum for everybody. Matter of fact, we've already talked to, on very low level, Spania, the Afro Meeting House, the Vilna Show, and we said, you know, we could all get together because we all do something a little different in the area as far as history goes. And we could package it as like the historic quarter mile, and we're off by ourselves. So it would be a real nice package, you know, for people to do when they come into Boston. But now that's in danger, and it's in danger for no good reason. I don't understand why they're getting punitive about the museum and the office spaces. It just doesn't make sense.
Now one thing I don't totally understand that happens to be going on here is that you're suing them, and they might not like that.
Well, I can understand that, but, you know, that is, according to our lawyer, we had to name them as a respondent because they were there and it wouldn't have worked. I don't know how true that is because I'm not a lawyer. But I don't see where that impacts on anything else we did. And maybe they don't like it, but why say you're not going to get anything? This is like sort of, you've been a bad boy and you'll never do this again. You know, that's what bothers me. I mean, this is very punitive and it's vengeful, actually. And, you know, especially for, look at Carlo Law is the president of this corporation. Okay, it's not part of the church per se, but he's the president of this. For something that is under the direction of the church to get this punitive. I mean, it's supposed to be compassionate people. They're not supposed to be, well, you did it wrong, we're going to jump on you. They're not developers. I mean, they are developers, and they're acting like developers. But it should be, I think they should have more compassion, and they should be looking out for, you know, what happened in there. Everybody, Gans, Jane Jacobs, anybody that wrote about what happened there, says there was a mistake, and whoever did it, they did it wrong. It's how not to conduct urban renewal. And this was, when Coyle did this, he said, this will heal this wound, okay? It will be over. The final chapter of the West End will be over, and that'll be it.
The wound still festers. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
From the Old West End Housing Corporation, Jim Campano.
Well, welcome back. That was a roll-in I did on BNN a while back. That was about 3 weeks ago. That was when the Archdiocese and Bob Keane and the Lowell Square Associates told us that they would no longer be giving us the museum and the office space. So we went up. We have been picketing, informative leafletting Father Grodin's office on 185 Devonshire Street, which is another thing. Before he got before he had the office on 185 Devonshire Street, he had a place down right across from City Hall over the New World Bank. And it was an old beat-up office. As soon as he got the soft money and the soft cost grants for this outfit, he moved from there to 185 Devonshire Street in this big suite. He has no money for us, but he can take the soft cost money and get himself this beautiful suite. So, you know, it just tells you. I would like to say that this man, he may be a priest, but I don't have much respect for him, to be perfectly honest with you. I know he's not happy about me saying all these things about him, but I would be much. I think two people that should have humility are priests and politicians, and I don't see a lot of it in. And I don't want to say that about parish priests. I love parish priests, especially Father Buck and their type. They help the people and they do the right things for them. But these people that get up on the hierarchy of the archdiocese and the level and they lose their roots and they start becoming power mad and they chase power like a legitimate guy, it doesn't make sense. Father Grodin had 5 people. He keeps saying that he has no influence with Menino. He had at least 5 people on Menino's transition team, and he has a hell of a lot of power with Menino's administration. That's why we're getting our blocks knocked off. If this was the Flynn administration, we'd at least have a shot. But he's taken. He has a lot of influence with Menino.
Yeah, but Gilly, is the mayor with us? Anybody who is with us?
Mayor
Any
is
state
not with
rep?
us.
Anybody?
Well, some of the state reps mouth it. Sal DeMasi is with us. Bobby Travellini, state senator, he says Bobby set up a meeting once with Menino and tried to work it out between us, but Menino wouldn't budge. And I think that's because the reason I think Menino hasn't budged off any of these stands so far is because I think the Archdiocese is propping him up.
Well, when I went to the West
They don't
End,
want him to
the
move.
big opening.
Yeah.
Remember the big opening?
Right.
Hired a tent and everything. They
Right.
told us the West Enders are coming back. Now, I videoed that whole thing. and they tell me how we're getting back. What West Enders are getting back? I'd like to know who's getting back.
That's right.
You know, actually people are born and brought up there, not the ones from New York or Connecticut or the different places. And that's discrimination. That's what I say. The West Enders should be back. They should have first choice.
I really would like to know.
I only get a few years to live.
I would really like to know why it costs $1,400 a month on a $100,000 mortgage. That irks me. Why is that? $1,400 a month on a $109,000 mortgage. I mean, I'm not a financial genius, but I do know that seems a little excessive. But I guess, oh, there's another thing. I heard there's a question I would really like to ask Father Grodin. And that question, Father Grodin, is, I was told, now this may be just rumor and hearsay because I don't know, but someone told me, Father Grodin, that the $3 million that was given to this project by the state, you have given to the project in mortgage form, and you will get the money back. You will get that $3 million back plus interest. Now, why is a grant that cost nobody anything, the state gave it to you free and clear, are you using for a mortgage and to make money on? You'll get the $3 million back. That's like the state giving you $3 million. Now, I don't know if this is true or not because this is hearsay. This is a question I wanted you to answer. I really want an answer on this one, and I can't seem to get through to you people. You people don't want to talk to us. You don't want to say anything. But why the hell should you make money on money that the state is giving? Now, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize to you. And if it's just if it's not his, if it's just hearsay and it's not true, I apologize. But I would like to know if you could come up with an answer for that. I really would like to know that.
But that's our working money he got, right?
That's from what I understand.
But it's supposed to be for us.
I think so.
I don't know why they're spreading it out different places.
I don't know why. Look, why didn't he just put it in the project and let it lower the price of the project instead of putting it in there as a mortgage and then you have to pay interest on what the state gave you. I mean, that's sort of, in other words, you're paying taxes. It's sort of like when we were in the West End and they took your father's house, right? Yeah. If your father didn't have the money to move out, he had to pay rent to the city, right?
Correct.
And that's like financing.
If you don't pay your tax on your water bill, what happens?
Well, what I'm saying is, once they took your house, you would have to pay, rent to the city if you didn't have the money.
Oh,
they gave you a buck, right?
Once you paid you off.
They gave you a buck. They gave you a buck, and they didn't give you the money, and they made you wait sometimes for a year. And if you didn't have the money to go to and get a mortgage, right? Enough money to go for a down payment, you had to pay the city rent. You financed the taking of your own house. It just seems to be the same way. It seems like we're using state money. They're using state money for us to pay interest on state money so they can make money. I find that obscene. I may be wrong, and I'll say that. If I am wrong, because it is something that I heard from somebody, and I've been trying to find out, but that's about it.
But who valued the houses in the West End? How did they get the value? Some people got 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Then all of a sudden, one jumped up to 26,000.
Not just one. There were other ones. There were. You would see if you look at the BRA records. It's like 5,000, 4,000, 6,000, 4,000, 3,000, 28,000, 4,000, 6,000, 14,000. Right. And I guess we're coming to the end of this show. I really wanted to say more because I have quite a few material. But this is a show, and I guess you'd call it my Venom show because I have a lot of. I try to work with the Lowell Square Associates for the last 8 years, and they kept promising me and promising me and promising me things, and saying, "Don't worry, everything will be all right." And in the end run, we're going to end up with nothing: no museum, no money for offices, no anything. They are going to make a lot of money, and everybody else is going to be on the outside. So I feel completely, what's the word, violated. I feel like the last 8 years they have violated me extremely. And I would like to say this, anybody that is going to do anything with the Archdiocese, the Planning Office of Urban Affairs, look before you leap and make sure you have a lawyer and make sure they put it in writing. Down. Okay? And that's about it. And that's the end of this show. And I hope to see you at the next West End Video Newsletter.
Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime,
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope Joe.